Just one day after the Fed meeting, the Dow Jones this morning continues to rise. And here to talk about yesterday's Fed decision as well as yesterday's market rally and what to expect in the near term is Sandra Navidi of BeyondGlobal. Sandra, thank you very much for your time. And how are you today?
Thank you very well, James.
All right, Sandra, it must be stated that contrary to the consensus, you are one of the very few to remain constant in saying that, well, even back in May, that the Federal Reserve would not taper at all in its September meeting. How does it feel right now to be one of the minority?
It feels pretty good. It's always hard to be a minority, and trust me, I know I'm a woman on Wall Street, but if the whole establishment, the CEO of Goldman Sachs and all the chief economists of the big banks and everybody agrees that this is what is going to happen, then if you go with that opinion, you can't lose, because even if that turns out not to be true, then it's still fine. But if you are in a minority opinion and you turn out to be wrong, then it's like, why didn't you get it? And I have to say that I said there would be no mini taper either. So not $1, not 10 billion. But I do think it's a very interesting and important example of groupthink, where there's uncertainty and people are looking for certainty, and some well-respected people come out and they state their opinion, and then other people think, oh, this makes sense, it's plausible, and they repeat it, and then the media picks it up, and all of a sudden an opinion becomes a fact, and that is very dangerous. And I think that's a phenomenon of cognitive dissonance that we also saw in the run-up of the big financial crisis.
All right, I must ask you, because you were correct back in May as to the actions of what would happen yesterday, what do you think is going to happen in the near term?
Well, it's all very fresh. I need to scrutinize the statement word for word, and then I need to analyze all the new data that it has come out and that will be coming out in the near future, and then you need to put it in context with risks that are still out there, especially political risk with the debt limit and the budget that could potentially be very dangerous, as Bernanke pointed out. Syria is still out there, but it's not just Syria. That whole region is a tinderbox, and then we have to see how things continue in Europe after the German elections.
Okay, so we have to trade a little bit. We have to turn, to a different chapter. Yesterday, we saw the Dow Jones and the S&P manage to reach all-time high levels, this following the Fed decision. And I have to ask you, what do you think of the levels that were achieved yesterday? Will they continue to remain around that level? Is there a possibility of going higher? Or do you think they've kind of lost a little bit of legs going into the near future?
Well, I think yesterday they were on steroids. They were surprised, so the market went even higher. But there's a big discrepancy between the markets and the real economy. And eventually, I think it's like a disconnect. It's a distorted reality. And eventually, the market will have to come down somewhat. But nobody can, and I don't know the exact time when it will fall. But when it happens, it could be very sudden, and it could also be steep.
Sandra, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.